On the Money with Secure Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Brian Quaranta. He is founder and president of Secure Money Advisors. Brian, how are you?
Cynthia, I am doing great. Good to see you as always.
It's so good to see you because I love our time together in the studio. You are so passionate about giving information to the viewers at home about how they can properly plan for retirement. We've talked about this for ages now, Brian, that a lot of people going into retirement, they don't have a plan. They're just going to the mailbox, they're grabbing those statements, but there's no true plan, correct?
There isn't, yeah. And it's a big problem because, you know, an investment plan is different than a retirement plan. And most people do have an investment plan. And the reason why is because they have a pile of statements and they've got a bunch of investments, but there's really no plan on how to use them for retirement. It's just a little bit of a different strategy that you use to get through retirement. And so, you know, a lot of times when people come in, they do bring their POS, which by the way stands for pile of stuff.
Pile of stuff.
Pile of stuff. They come in with their pile of stuff and they say, look, we've got all this stuff. We're not really sure whether or not we're on the right track, whether we're doing the right things. Can you help us piece together a plan? And you know, the nice thing about Secure Money Advisors is we've taken the time to put together a process, a system that truly takes you through it step by step, so that when you're done, you truly feel like you have a retirement plan, right? And it's written down and it's based around math, and you know, they get a nice binder, and you know, it's a tangible item that they can see, touch, and feel, and people do walk out with a real sense of peace of mind. And that's really what it's all about: planning, protecting, and peace of mind.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you. I wanted to ask you a question, obviously. We were talking before the show started today about a pensioner versus a gambler.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that in the first segment today.
Yeah. Well, most people are gamblers.
Okay.
If you ask most people, you say, tell me a little bit how you're invested, they're probably going to show you 401k statements, IRA statements, all invested in the market. Those people are gamblers. They're rolling the dice with 100% of their retirement savings. Think about that. You go to work every single day. You go to work on days that you don't want to be at work. You work with people you don't want to work with. There's days you wish you could retire but don't know if you can retire. And so, but every time they get paid, they have money going into retirement accounts, and they're risking every dollar they have. And as long as the markets are cooperating and the markets are going straight up, you don't have a problem. But we know markets don't go straight up. They come down. And sometimes they come down fast, and they come down a lot. And a lot of people wind up having to delay retirement. A lot of people have to come out of retirement. Look at 2007, 2008. I saw a lot of people, because they had trusted somebody to give them advice, that took a risk with 100% of their money, didn't set anything up as a pensioner for monthly income, and a lot of those people were not going to be able to continue to take money out of their retirement accounts to live off of because they were going to run out of money. So I would say think like a pensioner, not a gambler, because your job with your retirement money is to make sure that it provides you with enough money coming in every single month so that you can maintain your lifestyle. And of course, even if the cost of living goes up, like it has with inflation, you have to be able to increase that income. But you can't be relying on the market for that, because here's the mistake people make. When the markets go down and they're continuing to pull money out of their accounts, they are pulling money out and they're compounding those losses. They're locking in the losses. So imagine they just lost $30,000, $40,000 in the market, and on top of that, they take $10,000 or $20,000 out in income for the year. Now they're down not 30,000, they're down 50,000.
Wow.
And that compounding of loss is what causes people to run out of money. And typically people run out of money, Cynthia, later on in life when they can't go back to work because they don't have the physical capability of going back to work.
Yeah, that makes sense. So would you say that losses hurt more than gains help, Brian,
You
overall?
better believe it. That's well said. Yeah, the losses will hurt you more than the gains will help you, especially as you get into that red zone. You know, you start to get to 55 and older, those losses truly help you. I mean, you look at, you know, when you know, the NASDAQ corrects 30, 40%, I mean, it could take 15, 16 years for a portfolio to recover when you have those types of losses. And you've got big companies now, big name companies that are all part of, you know, what we call the FANG stocks that are down, you know, 40%, 50%, 60%. We hope to see those things recover, but we don't know. And a lot of people that have been relying on those specific stocks to get them to retirement, through retirement, are having a real wake-up call right now. And I just see so many people making the mistake of getting too greedy and not protecting their hard-earned dollars, because they're saying, well, I'd like to be earning 25, 30%. Why would I put it in an account that only earns 4 or 5%? And it's that greed that gets us in trouble. We have to have a balance between safety and risk in retirement.
How do you help someone find that balance, Brian? Because obviously that opens up a whole new can of worms, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm imagining in your office every single day, you probably have husbands and wives that come in together, right?
That's right, yeah.
How often are the ideas for retirement aligned with one another? Or do you have someone who's more risky and very conservative?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about overall how you help someone like that.
Right. Well, I will say this, and it could just be at our office, right? This is no national statistic. I'm just sharing with you what I see. Typically, the male in the relationship is much more riskier with the money than the female, right?
Yeah.
Women tend to want to protect that money more than what men are. Men are a little bit more gamblers with that money.
Yeah.
So they have a different idea of how the money should be invested. But there is a balance you need to have. You can still take risk with your money, but you should be taking risk with money that you can afford to lose, or taking risk with money that you can afford to have a longer time horizon with. Meaning, if you're going to take risk, you need at least a 10-year or longer time horizon. And this is why the #1 strategy that we share, that's in my book, Right Track Your Retirement, is a 2-bucket approach, where we have safe money and risk money, right? And that safe money and risk money is really what gives you a hedge against market risk. So when the markets go down, your safe bucket doesn't lose anything. But your safe bucket is also designed to provide cash flow.
Okay.
It's designed to provide cash flow. Usually when we build a strategy, that safe bucket is going to provide cash flow for 15 to 25 years. Now think about that. If we can provide cash flow from this bucket for 15 to 25 years, that means this bucket over here that we're taking risk with has 15 to 25 years to grow. And that really gives somebody a competitive edge in a sense, because what people typically do when the markets go down and they get scared is they sell. They sell at the wrong time. So if you split the money between 2 different buckets and the market goes down, and let's just say this goes down 30% over here, you're not worried about it because you don't need it for a long period of time, because the first phase of retirement has been protected with that first bucket of money.
Well, Brian, I know you have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home today. Let's talk about what that is before we open the phone lines. Yeah,
folks, I really built the Right Track Retirement System for you. You know, a lot of people will say, you know, I can't afford to take another big loss in the market. They might say, you know, I'm not really sure how to generate income from my investments, and I need to know how to do that because I am going to need money above and beyond what Social Security is getting me. A lot of people say, I wish I just had a pension. I wish I could make things easy. These are the types of things we can show you. Some people want to learn how to save in taxes. The Right Track Retirement System is built around 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning. You have an opportunity right now to get a complimentary, no obligation Right Track Retirement Review with a fiduciary firm. It's not very often that you get to sit down with a fiduciary at no cost, but you got to do your part. You have to call us today and schedule that appointment. So pick up the phone, put your cup of coffee down, get up off the couch, whatever you're doing, and pick up the phone. It's not the time to kick the can down the road and procrastinate. Schedule today for your Right Track Retirement Review. It's 1-888-382-1298.
Brian, thank you so much. When we come back, I definitely want to talk about your book as well. Would that be okay?
That's it. Let's
do it. To the viewers at home, the number to call is on your screen. That number is 888-382-1298. We know you have a lot of questions for Brian about how to plan your perfect retirement. He has the answers for you, and he wants you to stay on the right track. All you have to do is call in today, 888-382-1298. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but when we come back, I'm going to talk to Brian a little bit about his new book and the inspiration behind writing it. Stay tuned.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people also tell you that they're scared. And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
people, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
And welcome back to On the Money with Secure Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Brian Quaranta. He is founder and president of Secure Money Advisors and an amazing author, by the way. I want to point that out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your new book, Brian, and most importantly, the inspiration behind you writing this book. Where did it come from? Why was there a need?
Yeah. Well, first off, it took me 5 years to write it. I would start, stop, start, stop. And, I'm going on 24 years of doing this now for a living. And I don't know anything other than the financial industry. And what I found is that there's a lot of noise in the marketplace. And unfortunately, it's great that we have easy access to information today. Anything that, you're dealing with in your life, you can Google and you can find, millions of articles on it. Well, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? I tell my wife all the time, when you're sick, don't Google it, right? It's not a good idea.
Yeah. It never ends well.
Yeah, it never ends well. But it's the same thing with finances. I mean, if you Google how to build a retirement plan, you're going to find so many different opinions on how to approach it. Dividend stocks, annuities, ETFs. Like which direction do you go? How do you structure it? How do you build it? And so I've always had a very simple approach to retirement planning that's worked so well for over 20 years. And so I really wanted to commit it to paper so that people could get information that was easy to understand. And really it was all about, a lot of times people asking me, the number one question I would hear at the office all the time is, do you think that we're doing the right things? Do you think we're on the right track? And, because it's the number one question, I wanted to make that the title of the book, because most people don't know. They're scared about whether or not they're doing the right things. Have they saved enough money? Are they going to be able to retire? When are they going to be able to retire? If they do retire, they're going to run out of money. Are they doing all the right things that they can be for their taxes? If they die, are their kids or their charities going to inherit their money? Or is Uncle Sam going to get a large portion of it? So I've laid it all out in the book, and in really the Right Track Retirement book is all about a simple planning strategy that really helps you reduce risk, it helps you build income, it gives you peace of mind, and that's really what I think people want at the end of the day, is they want to be able to retire and have peace of mind.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. I can't wait to get a copy of your book. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, if you come in for your Right Track Retirement Review, I will hand you a copy of this book. Unfortunately, you can't buy it right now, but I will hand you a copy when you walk through the door, but you have to schedule your appointment to get it.
All right, save me one of the copies.
I will.
You promise? Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about, I've heard you mention the grand experiment.
Yeah.
What is the grand experiment? I'm
the grand experiment and the greatest trick ever played. The grand experiment was in 1978, the Revenue Act was passed to create something called a 401k plan.
Okay.
And 401k plans were really designed at first to help highly compensated employees defer bonuses and stock options. And then it was about 1983 that they started allowing salary deferral to go into 401k plans, meaning every time you got paid, right, money would go into the 401k.
Okay.
And so companies realized very quickly that it was a lot cheaper to provide this 401k versus having to provide a pension for the rest of the employee's life. This is why you look at companies like Ford. I mean, Ford wound up, I had a lot of clients that retired from Ford. They had great pensions. And then years later, we've never seen this, by the way. Years later, Ford contacted them and say, hey, would you like a lump sum? Usually the pension company gives you one option, right, when you retire. Would you like to take a monthly income or would you like the lump sum? Ford was allowing people to collect on their monthly income for years, and then they came back and said, would you like a lump sum? Why are they doing that? They want to get rid of that legacy cost because it's so much cheaper for them to only have to worry about the 401k, plus they're not responsible for generating income for this individual for the rest of their life. The 401k really puts the responsibility back on the employee. We'll give you a place to save money, and we'll call it your retirement. But you now, when you retire, you've got to roll this over, and you now have to figure out how to create a pension with it, how to get it to last for the rest of your life. And think about the monumental task here. We're talking about doctors, nurses, lawyers. We're talking about steel workers. We're talking about welders. We're talking about union workers, electricians, right? People that have a specialty in a specific area, okay? I was just talking to all the camera guys before the show. I have no idea how to run and operate these cameras, but I ordered them for the office because I wanted to try to do a few segments. I have no idea what I'm doing, right? These guys can walk right in and show me exactly what to do. I will never figure it out because they have years and years of experience. And we're asking people to take 25, 30, 40 years worth of work and saying, here's your 401k, good luck, you're on your own, you figure out how to do it. And the grand experiment is we don't know how this is going to work out, because most people, when they retire, they usually keep 100% of that money invested in the market, and they're going to need to generate income because most people, Social Security is not enough for them to live off. I say it all the time. So when are they going to run out of money? Are they going to run out of money? Is it going to last the rest of their life? Unfortunately, Cynthia, I meet people. They call my office. They're 15 years in the retirement. They're running out of money. I've seen it multiple times a year. And unfortunately, when I get that call, and they walk through the door, it's too late.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do.
Well, Brian, is that ever tied to the 4% rule? Because we've talked about this in the past. That was the rule of thumb that so many people followed for so very long. Take 4%. Let's talk about that.
It was. I mean, and you could trace that back to the early 90s of when that was created. And it really was a good rule of thumb for quite some time. But the markets were so much different in the 90s than they are today. And really the bigger problem is that we have people living longer. And of course the cost of living has gone up, so people need more income. But for those of you that don't know what Cynthia and I are talking about, the 4% rule just basically said if you had $1 million saved in your first year of retirement, you could take out 4% or $40,000, and every year you could increase that withdrawal by an inflation rate of like 3%. So the next year you'd go from 40,000 to maybe 42, and then you'd keep going up. What wasn't identified for the longest time, and I think it was identified, it just really nobody was talking about it. We had noticed it many years ago, and what was happening, it was called sequencing risk. So this was the order in which someone would receive returns while they were taking income out. So this is where I talk about the fact that when people take money out of their retirement account when the market's going down, they're compounding the loss, they're locking into the loss. And the 4% rule can jeopardize your retirement, because if you're pulling money out of a stock portfolio and the market is going down and you're pulling money out, you accelerate the spend down of that account much quicker, and it's harder for the market to come back. And that's why with market money, you never want to take withdrawals from it. Market money is all designed to be long-term money because you're going to have volatility there. The way you do it is you separate it into the two buckets. So this safe bucket is what you do to create your pension. The risk bucket is what you do to grow your money. And as this grows over the years, right, now you take some gains and you harvest those gains and you bring them back to the safe bucket. You don't pull monthly income out of the risk bucket, because the 4% rule, which is what that's all based around, could potentially get you in trouble. As a matter of fact, the Wall Street Journal did an article, and they said depending on the year in which you retire, there's up to a 57% chance that you could run out of money. 57% chance you could run out of money if you follow this 4% rule. Now, I don't know anybody out there today that wants a portfolio that has a 57% chance of failure. Think about that. I mean, I always relate it to getting on an airplane. I mean, let's say we were about to get on an airplane today and we were headed for Hawaii. And right before we're about to be back out of the gate, the captain gets on the intercom and says, folks, I want you to know we just got word from the tower. There's a 57% chance we may crash into the ocean before we get to Hawaii. How many people watching this show right now would stay on that plane?
It's true.
I ask that all the time during our educational events, and most people say, there's no way I'm staying on that plane. I'm getting off. So I said, well, what percentage of failure would you be going with? What if the plane only had a 20% chance? Would you stay on it? And people say, no way. What about 10%? No way. What does it need to be? Zero.
Zero.
Really?
Absolutely.
By the way, do you want to know what the percentage of a plane crashing into the ocean is? On the way to Hawaii? I don't know. But it would be terrible if I told anybody and knew.
Right, I was going to say, we'll Google that
Nobody
after
would
the
get on a
break.
plane again.
Well, Brian, you have a very special offer to present.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what that is before we revisit the phones.
Yeah, folks, the Right Track retirement system really was designed with you in mind, and it is going to help you get on the right track. If you've wondered if there's a better way to be managing your money, if there's a way to pay less in taxes, if there's a way to maximize your income in retirement, potentially reduce risk and maximize the returns you're getting, this system is really designed to help you identify that. It's based around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning. You have an opportunity right now to schedule an appointment today to come in, sit down with a fiduciary firm at no cost, no obligation. All you have to do is pick up the phone and schedule right now. Call 1-888-382-1298.
Brian, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen, and that number is 888-382-1298. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Brian when we return.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to On the Money with Secure Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Brian Quaranta. He is founder and president of Secure Money Advisors. Brian, a great show we're having today, talking about, of course, such an important topic, planning properly for retirement. Want to shift gears a little bit and talk to you about something that we were talking about during the commercial break. The greatest trick ever played.
Yeah,
Let's
the
share that
greatest
with
trick.
the viewing audience.
You here in Pittsburgh, you would think it was one of the sports teams that we'd be talking about right now,
Right.
the Penguins or the Steelers. But the greatest trick ever played was by the IRS on the grand experiment, which was the 401k. And the reason why I say it's the greatest trick ever played is because in 1978, when they said that we could start putting money into these 401ks, right? And then in 1983, when they said we could start deferring our salaries, they said that it was going to be a really great idea that you're going to be able to defer this money, and any money that you defer into this retirement plan, you were going to be able to write off on your taxes, right? So if I invested $20,000 a year into my 401k, that came off my gross income, so I would pay less in taxes.
Right.
But the greatest trick was that $20,000 that I put into that retirement account, when that $20,000 grew from $20,000 to $200,000 to $500,000 to $1 million, and I wanted to take that $1 million out, I have to pay taxes on 100% of that $1 million. So the greatest trick is the fact that the IRS became the largest partner in that account, and nobody knew it was happening.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Brian, how do we change that?
You got to come into Secure Money Advisors.
Right? Oh
or read my
gosh.
book, Right Track Your Retirement. It's all in here. But there are ways to fix it, and people should know about them. And you know, the better way to do it today is through utilizing of Roth accounts, where I can take that same $20,000, right, and invest it. So at Secure Money Advisors, we have a 401k for our teams, but we have a Roth 401k. So that means when we invest our money into that 401k, that $20,000, when it grows from $20,000 to $200,000 to $500,000 to $1 million, and we take that $1 million out, it's all tax-free.
Yeah.
Now the only thing is, We didn't get a $20,000 write-off in the year that we made the investment, but who cares? Would you rather pay taxes on $20,000 or $1 million?
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't take a rocket science. Yeah. Right?
Much better.
Yeah, so that's
Oh
what
my
I
gosh.
know. Yeah, a lot of people just weren't aware of it, right?
Yeah. Well, again, you don't know what you don't know, right?
You don't know what you don't know. And this is why people need education. And when I wrote Right Track Your Retirement, it was really about taking all of this complicated stuff out there and breaking it down to a very simple, easy to understand system that really is what I call an airport read. You know, my favorite books to read are on the airplane. My favorite book to read is when I can finish it on the airplane in a 2 or 3 hour flight, right? And that's, I said, when I wrote this book, there's so many books that I read, and you know, I probably read 2 or 3 books a month. And the books that I read, you know, I start going through these chapters and I think, boy, this author could have said this in 2 pages.
Yeah.
And instead I got 9 pages to read or 50 pages to read to get to a simple point. So I've taken out all the fluff and I've gotten right to the point of how to properly build this. And when you come in, folks, I will give you a copy of the Right Track Retirement book, and it will really help you understand. We'll even have a meeting, but it would be good for you to read even after you leave because it will reinforce some of the things that we talked about in that meeting.
I love that, Brian, and I think that it's an amazing gift that you're going to give the viewers that are coming into the office today. So let me ask you, that first consultation, we have a couple minutes left. How long does that first consultation typically take?
Yeah, about 45 minutes to an hour. It doesn't take very long. We're really there just to understand what their concerns are, what they're trying to accomplish, and whether or not we would even be a good fit. Right?
Okay.
And if we're not a good fit, we'll shake hands, we'll part as friends. Not everybody is going to be a good fit for what we do at Secure Money Advisors, but a lot are.
Okay. Well, Brian, with a minute and a half left of the show this week, any final words of wisdom and advice you want to give our viewers at home?
Folks, protect your retirement. It's the most important thing that you can do. The most important thing that you're doing with the money that you're saving right now is, for most people, it's going to be to provide an income in their retirement. But you got to be able to protect it, and you got to be able to know how to build a plan that's based around income. And that's really what our Right Track system is all about. And I want you to have this system because it really does give you the peace of mind that you deserve in retirement. It really takes the anxiety and worry out of whether or not retirement's going to work, or even if you're in retirement. There's so many people that I meet that are in retirement that they have no idea if the plan that their current advisor has them is even going to work. Remember, it's really easy to take risk with somebody else's money, especially if they get paid a commission to do it. That's why we prefer to be a fee-based firm. At Secure Money Advisors, we work for you, and we only make money when you make money. You got to do your part, though, for the Right Track review. Call 1-888-382-1298. You can schedule that Right Track Retirement Review today.
Brian, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us this week. The number to call is 888-382-1298. Again, thank you for watching On the Money with Secure Money. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today. Take care.